Hey guys, wanted to tell you about Eris. She's actually pretty much in the lore right now. If you don't remember her, she's the character in Destiny 1 that kind of has the green eyes, 3 of them, that you see in The Taken King, and is mainly based in the whole, I forgot what it was, but it was the first DLC that was, well, it was about Crota, and she's also in The Taken King. But I'm here to tell you about, well, lore. The darkness lore. So, there's Dusk and Dawn, the darkness, and the light. So, the light, it's obviously gonna be like the frontier, which it's a flawless battleground. The man they called Cade, well, Dawning Delights, that's his Eva Delante. And then I'm not sure what these are yet. This is obviously about every dead ghost we find. This one is, well, I believe this is just about the people. On Black Armory papers, this is going to base off of the people from the Black Armory. This is the Awoken in the Reef, which is the people in the Reef. Varenza, I'm not sure what this is. It's probably the people in the Dreaming City. I don't know what that is entirely, but the Dreaming City is obviously about the Dreaming City. I'm here to talk about the darkness. You see, 3 people. 1. The Forsaken Prince. This is the Awoken Prince, Oljensov. Obviously. You get it from the first lore book, Oljensov, which starts as Oljensov Whispers. You and I are going to take the Black Garden, which, at least that's what he says, which that does explain the darkness. If you don't know the Black Garden, it's the first actual campaign in Destiny 1. It's mostly the birthplace of the Vex and the gigantic hearts, and it kind of looks like the corrupted weapons. And at Drifter's Gambit, this is obviously about the Drifter. This last triumph is unknown so far. Obviously, you're going to unlock in Joker's Wild. This one, I don't know, probably about Benedict. About Truth to Power. This one is interesting. There's 11 books, but this first one, it really got me. I read the first part. I'm so glad you're the one who found me. Also, when you look at this, you see pretty much some weird dog's skull with horns. I've foreseen so many horrors with these stolen eyes, but now, when for once I ache to know the future. So when it says stolen eyes, I think Eris. She stole the eyes of an acolyte. That's why she has 3 eyes. Really, her eyes got ripped out, and she had to still escape Crota, so she tore out the eyes of an acolyte and used them as her own, and that's why she would really be up to true power of the Hive, which is pretty much Toland themed. I can't be sure of even a smile of hope. And these might be O's, they might be zeros. Really, it's hard to tell these days, but you can probably tell if you type it in as this font. Also, I'm not sure why the A is capitalized. Maybe it's a mistake. Ikora trusts her hidden. Also, here's more capital stuff coming up. Ikora trusts her hidden. Wait, never mind. Let's go back up to Hope. Are you the one reading this message? I think it must be you, Guardian. She would be able to tell. Who else would look for me? Well, Eris did help us, so it would make sense that this is her. Ikora trusts her hidden. when they are needed, which is her secret agents. And Cade would roll himself down Angel Falls. I'm not sure why there's 2 A's and then the word Angel Falls. Angel Falls is definitely a place because both words are capitalized, but I'm not sure why there's 2 A's here. A Abomination Angel Falls is all I think about, but the capital O's in Hope and the capital A's in Angel Falls makes me feel weird. In a barrel before he'd admit he missed it. Zavala does not place me first on his long list of worries because she's at the tower. So, and he never really cared about Eris. You're the one who would go out and look for me. I never needed you to save me. I wasn't a dried corpse or a dead ghost or a voice on the comm sure to die before you could offer help. I hauled myself out of that pit. That's obviously an Eris line. As I said, she needed to escape Crota. Which, in the Temple of Crota, that's where you go to actually enter the Ascendant Plane, and that's where you meet Crota. I'm pretty sure, at least. And that's what she's talking about. It's really underground. Far underground. That's why she calls it a pit. I made my own way back to the tower. But the capital O's does also freak me out. So, is there a hidden message in here? But I see what's coming up. I'll keep reading. And if I was on subtile, or whatever, in the way I threw you up against the hive. If I seem to wield you as vengeance, obviously in Eris line, she wanted vengeance against Crota, please believe that your victories were the closest I could come to feeling joy. I know you must have questions. What did I plan with the Queen? She actually did have a plan with the Queen to do something. Find them, my hidden friend. It's all up to you now. That was the line from the Queen right when she was dying, or entering her Ascendant realm. She was obviously talking to Eris. What destiny did I embrace after Oryx fell? This is at the end of, this is at the start, one of the first cutscenes. The Reef people fighting the Dreadnought. That's the first time we see the Dreadnought, and that's what they mean by what did I plan with the Queen. That's when they made that. What destiny did I embrace when Oryx fell? When she took the stone and out of the sword and said, I will not fail. What's happening in this city where dream has become nightmare? This is obviously talking about the dreaming city because it was a dream city and then it became a nightmare with the Taken. But if you look at this better, what's happening in this city? She could be talking about the whole last city where she was normally based, and in this city, she's obviously in that city. Then you read more and realize more. Where dream has become nightmare, that's saying she's in the dreaming city, or the nightmare city if you want. I can guide you to undo this curse, which she is basically a hive witch at this point. She can definitely do that, which it's definitely going to be the next DLC. I had to talk about this, or nothing else would happen. As I once guided you to unmake Oryx. This is saying, demolish Oryx. take him out of existence. But in the Dreaming City, why is there 30 A's and why are they all capitalized? Is this a code? But in the Dreaming City, as in the secret worlds of the Hive, there is no difference between the act and the actor. This is really long. In order to understand my answers, you must understand me. We do not know Eris Morn yet. I lost my ghost and my light to the Hive. This is true. She basically got her ghost killed and had to take the eyes of an acolyte, which her light faded away, but she didn't. She cheated death. I conspired with the Queen of the Awoken to destroy the Hive King Eris. And this is talking about her plan. And his son Crowtaw. Why? Okay, so these are different. These are zeros. But why is there a 1 in here? I want to know why is the 1 here. Moving on. And to position Queen Mara as player on the cosmic board, I fled your tower to prepare for the struggle to come into the sea of screams, which calls to those who plump into the depths of Hive magic. So, she's not saying she ran away from the tower because it was getting destroyed. She was told that they were coming because Mara said a storm is coming. By that she meant the Red Legion. But to prepare for the struggle to come, and that's obviously talking about the Red Legion and the whole storm thing. But into the Sea of Screams. The Sea of Screams is obviously a place, probably in the Dreaming City, like where else, which calls to all those who plumb in the depths of Hive magic. So you know Toland in Destiny 1, he was an actual guardian that was really liking Hive magic. He tried warning all the other guardians, even the Vanguard, but they didn't believe him. So he went over to the actual Dreaming City, tried to investigate the Hive, like find out more stuff about the Dreadnought, more about the Hive. He basically went to live on the moon. But he ended up in a Dreaming City somehow, and he basically became one of those tiny, one of those pretty weird dots floating around that tell you stuff. I believe this is not their souls, it's their light carrying on their word. This is them talking to you from the Sea of Screams. I know it's a long shot, but let's get right into more. Also, it would make sense. Toland was obsessed with the Hive magic, and so was Eris. I can only slip these letters into the Queen's gifts. When the stars are right, we need a constellation, which this might be a Destiny 3 DLC, the main Destiny 3 story. I don't know. I know it has something to do with the 9, though. That's all we know about Destiny 3. You will have to wait for my next... Does this mean a solar eclipse? I think this means a solar eclipse. When the moon blocks out the sun, and it looks like a giant black dot surrounded by flames in the sky. That's what a solar eclipse is. It's really cool looking though. You see it in Uncharted 3 if you play the story, which this would make sense. You will have to wait for the next, and with it, the beginning of the truth. But I swear to you, whatever trust, on whatever trust I've earned in your mind, that at the end of my story, you will know who I truly am. Who is Eris really? Because this is already too much about Eris. Like, this entire paragraph, like up to here, up to the semicolon, is obviously about Eris Morn. Like, it's obviously Eris Morn at this part. But at the end of my story, you will know who I truly am. So, the story has not ended. We have to kill something. In the last Wish raid, there's an Ahamkara and a siren, or siren of that Ahamkara. Siren or siren of Riven. This gives you 1,000 troops and starts the whole Dreaming City curse thing. When you kill that siren, we stop the curse in a Dreaming City. That's what it said it would do in here, and that will be the end of Eris Morn's story. Next paragraph. Oh god, that looks hard to read. Icy Night Never Bay. This is obviously gonna be in Destiny 3. 22nd. I'll read that later. In my first life, I was born Erisia Hayatave Hissien. I don't know how to read this. I remember that private, this might be a mistake without a space bar. I remember that private life clearly now. As ex-guardians, extra guardians, who have escaped into Traveler's occlusion, often do. I live in St. Petersburg, first daughter of a second Mirage. A very impatient child of Earth's 22nd century, often abandoned by my family, who were also called by work to Jakarta, Kamchatka, and Lagos, or Legos, but isn't that copyrighted? Anyway, these seem like hive names. This seems like a toy. To pass my days swimming in the icy Neva Bay. And the only thing we know about Destiny 3 so far is we're going to an icy planet that has something to do with the Vex. But it's probably got something to do with the Hive because it's around, I believe, Io. And why would the Taken be on Io, which is surrounding Jupiter? But not the Hive. The Hive and the Taken are the same team. This next one's a long one. I loved to swim, and especially I loved the clarity of the cold, shallow Neva, as crystal clean as a winter dawn. Winter dawn. This is gonna be a dawning quest. Okay, look at this. It says winter. That's kind of talking about icy as well. So we might be going to that snow moon surrounding Jupiter. And then it says dawn, like the time of day or the dawning. Enormous Zebra 9 hovercraft bridges, barges, roved the waters. Okay, so we see a boat in a picture of on an icy planet. This is a moon, exactly what I'm talking about. I forgot what it's called, but Zebra, I'm not sure. Zebra 9 is obviously that boat. Roved the waters, semicolon. Russia had modernized its waterways better than its sad auto industry. As a kid, is it strange to hear me speak casually? Also, Russia. We were in old Russia in Destiny 1 that was called Cosmodrome. As a child. Also, this is completely random. As a kid, she cuts herself off. Is it strange to hear me speak casually? She's probably talking to herself there. As a child, I never swam too far from my parents' little drone helper, Fyodor. We're probably gonna have to find that and take the camera intel. It's a drone, so probably. The swift hovercraft terrified me. Their billowing skirts waited to suck me up and dice me into little raisins. I don't know what they mean by that. I know a skirt is a part of like a car, but I don't know what they mean by dice me into raisins. Like slice you into raisins? What the fuck? But I grew up and fell in the reckless crowd. The crowd was reckless. What crowd? Rebels against the stifling death fear that came with our golden age lifespans. As soon as the child's safety harness and Fyodor's careful oversight began to itch at me. When I was 17, I went out in a wetsuit on a dare to dive under the skirts of an oncoming hoverbarge. Okay, so a hoverbarge is definitely a level at sea that I'm not aware about. I'm not sure. Maybe I was in no danger. Maybe the machine would have changed course if it could possibly. Gemini hurt me. So Gemini, maybe this is tying back to the lore of the Gemini Jester. I will cut to the lore of the Gemini Jester right now. And I will read it, actually, to you. Gemini Jester. I love making people laugh. And by people, I mean me. Ha ha. Ha ha, me. He quietly giggled as he stood blocking my exit, almost as if to taunt me. I started to push my way back. I started to push my way past, but the blasted fool pulls hard on my ear. He swiftly takes a step back and presents his rump in a jesting dance, not willing to get pulled into his game. I ignored his blatant attempts at a farce and continued forward. Abrupt, or whatever, shrews of frenzied laughter break out as I feel the force of his boot on my backside. I cannot ignore his flagrant mockery. I reel around. Take hold of his collar and clock him full force. Behind me in the distance, I hear hysterical laughter. Confused, I whirl my head back to see a jaunty man skipping off. I look back at my hands to find them empty. That jester had taken me for a fool. Look at this, Clovis Bray on the leg. Oh, on the side of the leg, there's a jade rabbit symbol. On the back, I'm not sure what those dots are. And then, I'm not sure what the deal with the belt is. And the shorts, like, the shorts and the long pants. I'm not sure why it's pretty much girls' sandals either. No one thought of that. Okay, reading that sentence again. Maybe I was in no danger. Maybe the machine could have changed course if it could possibly Gemini hurt me. But I thought I might die, and I did it anyway. And as that beast swept over me, I trembled under the blast of the propellers. I don't know what it even is anymore. It's probably a boat, because boats have propellers. I felt a thing which was very much like what I would one day know as the light. So, the light, that means her powers. Maybe the thing was heroism, maybe it was existence on the edge of death. That's probably exactly what the light is. It was the first time I survived the passage. Tremendous godlike power. I died more than 20 years later attempting on an unassisted winter swim from St. Petersburg to Stockholm. A cold front like the very furnace of hell caught me. A front is what you would probably learn by watching a movie such as Wonder Woman, just an example. A front is like the main battleground. I had been warned the crossing was suicide. Even for a perfectly trained and exactingly fainted woman. In a shark suit. That's a very good name for the wetsuit. Or was it shaped like a shark? But those were giddy days. I don't know what giddy means. Days of infinite bravery, unlimited bravery. And there was no mighty feats left except the truly suicidal. You are committing suicide. I cannot regret it. I think that death prepared me for the longer, darker, more extinguishingly cruel crossing I would one day die endure. It is no accident that my ghost made me in the image of that swimming woman, rather than any of my younger and less grimly determined selves. So, the ghost made her a different person, but she remembers stuff now. That probably isn't her. Also, why did it come from Eris being an adult with the light? And then it somehow changes to well, memories she has right after the line at the end of my story you will know who I truly am. I hope this helped you. Also, that was Eris Morn's story. Is it you, Guardian?